Welcome, everybody, to What's Up, Bolts? I'm Fernando Ramirez, and yes, the first day of training camp has happened. Gilbert Manzano and I were both in person there, checking it out. We have all your news and notes, but I'm just here by myself. Or am I?
What the Rock is cooking.
Gilbert Manzano is here. Gilbert, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. I like the music. I like the 2 seconds of the Rock intro because the copyright issues. So you got it down. You're the expert here, man. On day one, the training camp.
Here I am. I was about to say that was a total wasted intro on Hilberto.
Yeah.
The Stooge just sat there frozen. You know what I'm saying? I at least give a little head bob.
What are you calling me, the UCLA coach or what?
I'm getting hyped. I'm getting hyped. Oh, that's
on the beat. Based in Southern California. There you go.
Supposedly. Yeah. Hey, we're not based anywhere. We're nomadic. We'll go anywhere,
worldwide,
any place, worldwide, like Prestige, worldwide, wide. Who's driving the boat? Shut up, Dad. That's all I said. Step Bros. Step Bros.
All right.
Step Bros.
Yes,
so obviously a lot happened today at Chargers training camp. A lot was said. And I have, before we get started, I will say real quick what I thought Jim Harbaugh meant by his words. Right now, when we get started, I'm gonna talk about it just because I felt like Jim was saying something. He was saying a lot by saying a little bit, I guess, in a sense. So we'll get into that. But obviously, like I said, Gilbert and I were both there. Sights and sounds. They did a whole ribbon cutting ceremony. They did a bunch of stuff to get this going. But
who cut the ribbon?
Are you okay, Gilbert? If I kind of go on my
do it. I gotta tell the people on Twitter that we're live right now. I'm trying to do the tweet real quick.
Okay, cool. Then I'll let me get
to the big screen. All right, that's huge off my screen. You get up there, Frown. Tag in.
All right,
tag in.
All right. Let people know on Twitter to join us.
No, you're 100% right. We might have to
premium.
We might have to get the stupid check mark for the Compas page to go live. But so how do I want to put this? So basically, what I think Jim was saying is essentially what a lot of us have. Yeah. Let me just go with that, I guess.
There you go. That's fine.
This is what Jim said.
This is your moment. Take it. It's yours. The microphone.
You know what? Why
are you gonna go get it from the horse's mouth?
Yeah. Let me just put what Jim Harbaugh said.
Just the way it feels. I mean, feels like New Year's Day, feels like being born. Feels like coming out of the womb, it's like you're in there and it's comfortable and it's safe and now you're out, you're born, lights are on, it's bright, got chaos, people looking at you, people talking at you, and just feels good to have it happen.
So what I think it's significant is because I was thinking about it like this. And Gilbert, you and I have been kind of talking about this since the whole Keenan Allen trade. You haven't won anything in 60 years as a franchise. You have experimented with coaches. You've brought in guys that aren't necessarily winners, but you brought them into your franchise. Some guys turned it around, like Marty Schottenheimer. You gave others, Eric Coryell, their start. You've done different things. You've tried to give young coaches a start here. It hasn't worked. You're in a new facility. You have a new head coach. What Jim is bringing in is winning, a winning culture, a winning mentality. He does things differently. Remember in the past, Anthony Lynn came in. We're so excited about Keenan Allen. We're so excited. And then Brandon Staley comes in. We're excited about Keenan. We're excited about Mike. Jim comes in. Yeah, I don't know about this. Maybe we need a fresh new start. Jim is shaking things up and Jim is doing something different. So I do believe that Wednesday was a new birth for the Chargers, for these Chargers, for Jim Harbaugh's Chargers. In the past, we've said they're Phillip Rivers Chargers, they're Justin Herbert's Chargers, they're so-and-so's Chargers, they're whatever. I think we're finally saying this is Jim Harbaugh's Chargers team, And I feel like that's what he kind of meant by by birth, them being born. I think that's kind of where he went with this. This is a new age. They're a different team. They have a lot of different qualities going into this. So I think that's what Jim meant by when he said it's like being. I don't think it was like just a Jim Harbaugh, a new ism thrown out there. I think there was intent behind it, and that's what he means. This is a new era in the Chargers. The bolt, the ribbon cutting ceremony, the new head coach, everything is now new for this Chargers. Gilbert, go ahead. That's just what that's what I wrote about today.
I appreciate the in-depth analysis on this interesting saying, or I guess what is it? Some kind of there you go, ism. There you go. That's actually the word I was looking for. Look at that, Fernando. To compare this new day with the Chargers and Jim Harbaugh, or maybe he's just Jim Harbaugh being Jim Harbaugh saying things off the dome. But no, you're right, Fernando. I think he might have. He likes to say things like he's talking to the media. Oh, that's a good thing. I'm gonna run with that one. Maybe he had one of those moments. But hey, he's cutting promos on the spot. We appreciate the uniqueness off the dome there. So it does make sense, though, Fernando. Obviously, you know me. I think a lot of things were silly, but that was a good quote, by the way. And one of my sections for my notebook that I do for my training camp tour is like, what's the best thing you heard? And that was for sure the best thing I heard. But it was making the rounds so much on social media and everywhere on the internet. I'm like, I had to pick something else because I got tired of it. But it's true. These Chargers with Jim Harbaugh are different. And, you know, again, to kind of plug my story with Jesse Minter, talking to him and getting his point of view with Jim Harbaugh and working with him. And I'll tell you this, Fernando and Dan, you know, sometimes when you're talking to people, you want kind of like the good soundbite or something that just, you know, stands out or you're going to remember for a long time. Like Jesse Minter flat out said, I came here to be with Jim Harbaugh. There is no head coach I would rather be with than Jim Harbaugh. Like, if he could take a job and be the head coach and be the boss, he'll leave. But I don't think this guy wants to leave Jim Harbaugh ever when it comes to being a coordinator or an assistant coach. And this guy worked with John Harbaugh too in Baltimore. So I'm not trying to say he's comparing the two brothers, but it just says a lot about Minter saying, you know what, I want to go. He told me I want to win a Lombardi Trophy. I won a natty with Harbaugh, my dad, at Michigan. Now I want to come be with that guy. It was a no-brainer. He said it was a no-brainer because you get Derwin James, you get Joey Bosa, you get Khalil Mack, you get to work with Jim Harbaugh. I think that definitely says a lot about this new era. We're coming out the womb. First of all, how does Jim Harbaugh know the womb is comfortable in a relaxing place? Who knows? Can you confirm or deny as a baby?
This guy. What the hell is that?
I'm going deeper with the words, you know.
And Dan, before we get your thoughts on this, I just wanted to go a little bit deeper with that as well.
How much deeper can we go?
I know.
We're in the womb.
Eso es lo que dice. No, I'm kidding.
That's what he said.
That's one of the things I've questioned, Gilbert, because we saw Mike McDonald came back. What did he last 2 years with in Baltimore, and then he got his new head coaching job. I'm wondering how long Jesse would. I know we haven't even seen him in a game or anything, but that's one of the things that I wondered when he first got the job. I'm like, as soon as the season's over, his phone is going to be hot as crap. People are going to be calling him, hey, we'd love to get you in for an interview, this, that. But obviously he said, I'm with Jim. I love Jim. This is where I want to be. So I'm interested in that. But Dan, what are your thoughts about that? I know you're not a one for isms and all this stuff, but just is that kind of the way you saw it or heard it?
So it's kind of funny that he says that, right? Because, you know, I say something similar to a deeper level. You know, I don't talk about coming out of the womb. I appreciate it. Shout out Luke Combs. Speaking of plugs, by the way, if you have not seen Fernando's interview with Deion Henley, go check that out either on the WUB page or the main Compas page. Absolutely killed it. Gives good insight. There was other great interviews on there from the other day from Deion Henley's camp. Make sure you go check that out. Okay. Moving forward, like I say something similar to the boys, but it's in a different way. Oh, my boy, Signor Vive Moi. He's on. What's up, my boy?
Montreal.
Shout out. But anyway, I say something very similar, right? You know, the way I look at it, okay, and this is what I tell everybody as soon as we go into scrimmage time, right? Every single week, okay, your football life is up for grabs. if that makes sense. You're in a telephone booth and you're in a fight for your life. So, the way I try and put it is, either a telephone booth or whatever, or they're out swimming in the water. The ocean's going to rise and fall, clasp, right? Bigger waves, smaller waves. It's going to dip. It's going to try and pull them down, right? Just like the flex of a game, right? It happens all the time. You're in control. You lose momentum, things of that nature, okay? And the way I paint the opponent is the opponent's the one you've got to meet in the water, and he's going to be dragging your ass down as hard as you're trying to drag him down, essentially to gain the upper hand and stay alive, basically. So I know it's pretty violent. It's a violent sport. I can't do anything for you. But, similarly, that's the way I look at it, just like how he's saying, right? The rebirth, right? Essentially what the way I kind of hear it and see it, right? It's kind of, in Harry Potter, what happens with the Phoenix? It burns itself alive and then it rises from the ashes, right? Basically, the Chargers, for the most part, the mentality of it is they had, for lack of a better terms, a shit year last year. They won 4 or 5 games, draft 5th overall. Who the hell wants to be top 5? Really, no one, because it means you sucked. So they're essentially at the part now where they're trying to get that rebirth from the ashes. And I think that's the way he's trying to go. One thing I would like to know, a question to Hilberto, any complaints from being at the Bolt for the first time? Any horror stories about trying to go around?
Real quick, before we get to that though, and this is what and real quick, everybody, thank you so much. If you guys have any questions or anything for Gilbert or myself or even Dan, throw them in there. GS says this is the season to believe the offseason hype, new facility, new staff, new scheme. Another thing is too, Gilbert, the players don't want to hear about last season. They're done with that crap.
Yeah, no.
They don't want to hear about any of that. They know it's something new. Look, this is what Derwin had to say today as well.
I don't even care about last year, man. I'm so focused on the moment right now and the buzz we have right now in the team and everybody coming together. I totally forgot about last year, and I'm just ready to come out this year and compete, and I'm pretty sure the guys in the locker room ready to do the same thing.
Because at the same time, too, is that Derwin's a loyal guy. And Derwin stood behind Brandon until he couldn't anymore. And, I mean, you saw the frustration. Again, we brought it up the other day, Gilbert. That Chiefs game, I could see the frustration on Derwin's face when they were in zone the whole time and Travis Kelce's eating them alive. And they're like, come on, let's go to man. Let's go to – finally, they switch over to man, and they have more success. So it's like everything in the past. That's why I'm saying birth. Like, they do not want to talk about Costa Mesa. They don't want to talk about
even the lighting, Fernando. The lighting for these press conferences is on point, much better than Costa Mesa. Things are just better in this. I couldn't even find the new media center, by the way, but I just saw the video here.
Yeah, I ran out. It's funny. I ran out to go get Gilbert, and I turned and I looked to my right, and Justin's there. He's like, "Hey, bud, how you doing?" I was like, "Oh, hey, how you doing?" And I walk over, and I'm like, "Gilbert's in here. Who's talking?" I'm like, "Justin." He's like, "Okay, I'll be there in a second." But I think he was so busy writing, he didn't even get up and go.
I couldn't find the place, but yeah, I'm still new, but yeah.
Good lighting. Well, I think Gilbert, we all are new.
Yeah. Well, you guys got the whole tour.
Obviously, we're all the way back, baby. I think it's gonna be a good.
We are so back.
Few bets going, but that's me, right? Just to piggyback off of that real quick, like I understand in the sense that like they're professionals, they should show up, be excited to work, everything else. They're getting paid millions of dollars to be a child's game or play a child's game, right? They should be invested to try and get better and everything else. But at the end of the day, when you look at the nitty gritty, you break down the NFL, it's still the same. Even if as as high school football, in the sense that like you have to believe not only in yourself, but you have to believe in the program, the direction the head coach is trying to take it. And that's the biggest thing that I don't think, I think people are underestimating going into this year is that, the fellas are not only excited every 14 days or however it works, whenever that direct deposit hits, but now they're excited to go to work because they believe they're that Superman. They believe they can hang with the people they haven't been able to for the past I'm going to say it for the past decade because, not to kind of get into it again, we're moving on, new program and everything else, but we had some incompetence in there and, now it's out, we're moving on. But that's the biggest thing, I think, the difference that you're going to see people have a little more pep in their step. You're going to see people running sideline to sideline. You're going to see people finishing blocks 10 yards upfield and just things of that nature. You can't underestimate leadership and belief in it.
So real quick, before I get Gilbert's thoughts on this. Speaking of their check and direct deposit, so when I was an intern in 2013, they still, I mean, I don't know if they still give out checks or not, but they do to show you everything that they needed. And it is so funny because Melvin Ingram one time standing at his locker and he opens his check and he goes, I'm sorry, what the fuck is this? He's like, he took out $15,000. And then some guy, I think it was it Flower? Was it Brandon Flowers? I can't remember who it was that turned to him and goes, "Oh, that's because you got fined." What the? And then he's just like gets pissed. He runs over to Chargers PR. What the crap? What is this? Like, why do I have to pay the fine? I don't want to pay the fine. And so like he is just going ballistic. And then he's like, "Hey, Fernando, you want to lend me $15K?" And I was like, "What?" He's like, "I need to pay this fine, dude." I just started laughing. I was like, I don't have that kind of money. And then he just starts laughing. I'm like, wow. I was like, dang.
Like,
so
yeah, wait 4 months until I could add up 15K with my check.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
yeah.
bro, I just like his face, like he's going up to all the, like he went up to Nick Hardwick. He went up to Eric Weddle. He went up to everybody asking him why they were taking 15. He's like, is this a government? Is this California? Who's taking this 15K out? And it was fine money. And then he's like, where does that go to? And they're like, charity, my ass. So
that's exactly how I feel every 2 weeks when I see my check, dude. Ridiculous.
Bro, it was so funny. Guys, we will get to your questions and everything in a second. Gilbert, any other thoughts about birth or birthing? Derwin James, by the way, was just like, he's like, I'm gonna Justin Herbert and Derwin James did not want to touch that, but Derwin, like, we didn't even say anything to Derwin. And like we asked Derwin, or somebody asked Derwin, Jim said, what's the craziest thing that Jim's kind of told you? And he said that this is like birth and this and that and that. And we all just started laughing. He's like, oh, he just came in here and told us that. He's like, yeah. He's like, I'm going to leave that up to him. And Justin said the exact same thing. He's like, I'm not going to do any of those isms. I'm just here to play quarterback. And throw the football around.
Yeah, you know what? Sticking to new beginnings and new things. Like just a kind of a quick review on the field, at least for the boat. Like I just realized, like I think we're a lot closer to the players than we were in Costa Mesa.
A lot closer.
Because I did the whole walk and I realized when I was with the offensive lineman.
I needed to do that whole walk too. I didn't do it.
Yeah, when I saw Joe All coming at me, I'm like, oh, actually, he's like right there. And I remember there's kind of like a bigger kind of barrier there for us in Costa Mesa.
Yeah.
So. Segundo getting points there. It was cool to see the fans, being close to us. I don't think it's as many fans as Costa Mesa, but there was still a big turnout. And I'm not saying because not more fans can't come in. It's more like I think more season ticket holders this year. I wish there was more room for them. But it was a big turnout. People saying hello to us. That was awesome. But it
seemed like they had a little kids section as well, so they had little kids standing there, and
obviously seeing Herbert doing all the autographs, going down from the one end to the other end, which is a longer end. I'll say that longer end than Costa Mesa. So he went, and no segundo was longer. He took his time doing that, so it did feel like a new start, new era. Even seeing, I know you guys saw it during the offseason, but even the giant kind of signs that's kind of like college football, where you have, okay, let's do this formation and this play now, in this giant sign where you see more in college football. That was cool. Just seeing the difference between other coaches and Harbaugh. I like the mixing and matches between the starters and the second team, just trying new things. So it's only day one, but it felt like, okay, it's definitely different. You see Jim Harbaugh with his little kind of awkward run like this, and being
and in cleats.
Yeah, in cleats with the Jordan, fashionable, enthusiastically, all that stuff. That's a guy.
It's funny because Eric Williams posted a picture about it, and they had like 100K views on Twitter. People were really fascinated by that. Real quick, we will go Brian Stowe. We will answer that. That's going to be our next segment, so we'll get into that right now. Dennis is asking, is Slater going to be a Charger next year? Vikings, Christian Darrisaw just got paid. Harbaugh doesn't seem to like a guy who likes to pay top money for a player. Look, I'm going to be honest, and Gilbert and Dan, you guys can go after I do. He's not willing to pay top dollar if it's like a different position. I think for offensive line, he's willing to throw all the money not all the money, but like he wants to build and solidify a huge. You guys are laughing. There must be a comment.
Wheelie! Shout out to Wheelie. That was pretty funny.
But he is willing to pay top dollar if it means keeping a top offensive line or a game-changing player. He wants to run the football. He wants a top offensive line. I'd be really surprised if Rashawn Slater is no longer a Charger next year. I think it's a different situation than other guys that you've seen in the past. So I'm going to go with yes. Rashawn Slater is a Charger next season.
Yeah, and just going off of what every GM or scout ever tells me, offensive tackles that good don't grow on trees. Yeah, maybe he's not being an all-pro every single year like he was his rookie year, but he's still a very talented tackle above average, and you can't find that. It's tough. Remember those Storm Norton days, Dan? You remember?
Don't remind me. Max Crosby probably sends him a Christmas card every year because that's who got him paid right there.
So you don't let go of guys like that, but there is some pressure, right? Because it's hard to match what he did his rookie year. He had the injury year 2, and then year 3, you can't really fault him for a very crappy situation. But you haven't had that all-pro play from rookie year, but he's still a very talented player overall. And then I'm just eager to see what he does with Joe All. Like, even for Joe All, like playing right tackle instead of left tackle, that's gonna be a transition. But it's all set up for Rashawn Slater to have a big year. But I'm not gonna say like he has a bunch of pressure. I think he's gonna get that money. But like, does he top Darrisaw money? We don't know, because I think Slater had a better. Like, you put all the Darrisaw years together, Slater's rookie year is better than anything that Christian Darrisaw. Yeah. But he's gotten better and more consistent the last 2 years, where Rashawn's had some issues with with the bad situation and some injuries. But I'm not gonna say there's a lot of pressure in terms of that. But if he has a season where he's back to being a Pro Bowler or All Pro, hey, without hesitation.
Hog talk.
Yeah, I'm gonna say the same thing, right? I think it really just depends what type of year he has, because I hope we're gonna have some financial responsibility here, in the sense that, like, we're not just gonna shell out cash for guys that we like because we're like Jerry Jones and, well, they're family. They're family to me. I think about them in the shower. Okay. Slater, again, no one denies his rookie year. Year 2 obviously gets hurt. Sawyer steps in, does a good job. Year 3, there's just a few things to me in year 3 I was not a huge fan of. Like, I think personally, when he's in his pass pro, he gives up a little too much depth, where he keeps kicking towards the quarterback and he doesn't stand his ground. Another thing sometimes I don't like is that he doesn't readjust his body positioning or his hands, which, can help him out. Obviously, you re-engage the defender and cause him to not move further back, right? And, I think now with Harbaugh being such a, guy who focuses on the offensive line, it's only going to make him better. The guy, whoever the O-line coach is, we saw the interview once. I'm forgetting his name. I apologize. But, hopefully that just elevates his game. Hopefully it elevates everybody's game. That's the biggest thing that's going to need to happen, because I'll say this. I don't think, he's going to be one of these either coaches, GM, or whoever, that they re-sign him to some ridiculous amount like they have these quarterbacks, just because, well, there's no one better. That's what I'm hoping doesn't happen, because you're not going to pay a guy $20 million a year or whatever the going rate is if you're not convinced. So that's what I want. That's hopefully what happens. Hopefully he has a good year.
Benjamin says Fernando's probably going to come up with an elaborate scheme to steal the Chargers pizza oven and take it
shout
home.
Out.
For Dan and Daygo, I would do that. I would do that for Dan and Daygo. Senor Vivant says, following with Brian, I know there's no real depth charts, but what did y'all see more? 3 receivers, 2 tight ends, or which receivers were with Justin Gilbert? I'll let you take that one away.
Yeah, I guess I won't get in trouble like you, Fernando. But I saw more. Actually, I'm not saying more, but I saw a good amount of 2 wide receiver sets. So I'm not saying there was for sure an extra tight end, maybe 2 running backs, 2 tight ends. I'm not gonna get on to
we even saw an offensive lineman at tight end going in motion.
But we can't say too much in terms of, because I don't want to lose my credential. And 2, like they even started practice with like 3 offensive linemen, and it was like what was it, like 8 on 8? It was something weird, but it's just the way that Harbaugh is tinkering with, which I'm like, hey, why not try new things? But to answer the question in some kind of good way, I saw a lot of 2 wide receiver sets, but you don't see a lot in today's football. It's a lot of 3 wide receiver sets. And I'll say this: when it was down to 2, I saw a lot of Palmer. I saw a lot of Quinton Johnston. I think Johnston's going to get a legit opportunity to be a starter. I don't think it matters who's going to be wide receiver 1, 2, or 3 in terms of like ranking them. But in whatever order you want to put them, I think Johnston and Palmer are going to be for sure there, and I think probably Ladd McConkey or even DJ Shark. But like Fernando said, all off season, there's not going to be a legit number one, but it's going to be a handful of playmakers, and I think Johnston's going to be one of those guys going to get legit opportunity.
Real quick, if Keenan Allen had stayed, would they still have drafted McConkey in the second? I believe they would have, just because Mike Williams probably isn't there, and you have a lot of the same kind of receipt. Josh Palmer, I don't think GJ Chark would be here. I think it would have been Josh Palmer, Keenan Allen, Quinton Johnston, and I think Ladd McConkey would still be in here. Because I think the Chargers truly were going best man available, and McConkey's a talent that you don't pass up, especially if he can kind of turn it on and be that difference maker. So I definitely think that's what they would have done. Joe Alt looks huge, but the bag work shown on the social media were elite. Oh, I saw some of those. Yeah,
I can't wait to go see that in person. Honestly,
I had a sign that Harbaugh
wheelie.
Jesus, that is amazing.
Next time I go, I'm gonna look out for that.
Yeah,
sign
next time we go, we have to look out for that sign.
Yeah,
that
let us know,
great.
dude.
Herbert looks jacked up. I would like to see him tuck the ball and run in crucial downs and get first downs. Hey, there's going to be a lot of different things, I think, with Herbert. I don't think there's going to be designed runs, but I think they're gonna do some stuff with him. I don't even remember the Chargers having two elite tackles. Right tackles generally are weakling. That one, Wheelie, you actually are right, because I remember when they had 73 Marcus McNeil.
Yeah,
the right side was kind of weaker.
Then King Dunlap.
He had his concussion on the other side, but even then they were kind of hit and miss. Yeah, no, you're right. They haven't really done that.
Wait, can we stop here for a second? One thing that it was funny, and then one thing I thought was kind of dumb. But on the whole Joe Alt, I guess seeing the videos, and I took one video, and I was surprised that a lot of people really cared about the skull caps. That blew up on the SI's Instagram. And then the other thing too, people are really analyzing Joe Alt's body type, like, oh, like he doesn't have enough weight or enough muscle on the arms, or he kind of looks a little wonky. I'm like, he's a giant, and he's had good tape in Notre Dame. Who cares? Let the guy play and then figure it out.
That's so funny. You figure all that out from an Instagram.
I thought so too. Funny. But all right, let's go with now. Obviously, turning over to what we're going to talk about, Quinton Johnston. And before we get started with this segment, let's hear what Jim Harbaugh had to say about him. It's pretty long, but just bear with us. It's actually a very good quote. So let's hear what Jim had to say.
None of the things that you guys not you. I'm not. I know. Let's get that. Let's just get that on the table. That was a misspeak by me. I know it's like you, the media. No, it's not that way. I just think he got a bad rap. I look at some of the clips coming out of training camp last year. Whatever it was, it just seemed like, in somebody's mind, he was a disappointment. He hadn't been at all in my eyes. I mean, I see a big, fast, strong, getting stronger. I think that's a piece that's really been addressed in the offseason. Coach Herbert and Quinton, just getting stronger to go with that. I mean, that speed, the agility, his ability to catch the ball. I mean, he plucks it out of the air. I've seen, he's as good as anybody doing it. But then combining that speed and agility, getting that strength component to go along with it. I mean, he's going to be a problem. He's going to be a problem for people. So I've been nothing but happy with Quinton Johnston. Q still got I got a bad bruise from semifinal game a few years ago. But everything I've seen in the offseason practice, the way he trains, he's one of our top guys.
Gilbert?
Yeah, I'm buying, the hype in terms of giving this guy a legit chance, because I'm sure there was a time where people thought he's going to be the odd man out because Jim and Joe Ortiz did not draft them. You saw the drops, and the drops at crucial moments. There were killer drops, and you start thinking, will this guy ever figure it out? And then you draft Ladd McConkey. You even go and get the Michigan wide receiver. You get Brendan Rice too. You get DJ Shark. So you start thinking, okay, this guy's going to be maybe the odd man out, maybe the 4 or 5 wide receiver, whatever. But I'm not saying like they heard me, but I keep saying like this guy has too much talent to give up in year 2. He was a first-round pick. Let's see what a different coaching staff could do. Let's see what somebody else could do with different play style. Greg Roman, having a different coaching scheme, and we're gonna see some plays here from Quinton Johnston and QJ. And that was today, I'm assuming, right, Fernando?
Yes.
So he was doing that all day. Like, he was out on the outside a lot, a couple of slants, a couple of outside routes, things like that. I'm hoping they move him a little more to the inside too, Fernando. I think we were talking about that. I forget who was it, with Tyler or somebody else, where he was playing too much X and he should be more of the Z. But it's training camp. That's where you kind of experiment. But he's getting opportunities on the outside with Palmer opposite, and then have Quinton Johnston. But to give Palmer some love, by the way, Fernando, the best catch I saw all day was when we turned to each other and said, "Whoa, that was a laser! That was a heater from Justin Herbert." Herbert gets the most credit there for throwing that tight window fastball to Joshua Palmer. It was like a quick out for 5-8 yards.
Yeah.
But for Palmer to extend and then put his hands out for that tight window and then catch that freaking lasers from Justin Herbert was pretty cool to see.
It was like this.
Yeah.
And Asante Samuel Jr. draped right on.
He created a window for Herbert.
Palmer.
That's all Herbert needs. Give me a window, and I'm gonna get it in there, and he got it.
Yeah, but I would most certainly say that the defense kind of got the better of them today. But but before we go to Dan, Jorge, how are you doing? Jorge, you haven't missed. The best part is about to come. I have some stuff for Dan, so
shout out,
excited
Jorge
for that. Gilbert, I believe the same thing as you, and we were talking about it, Gilbert, at practice, is that with Jim, it's not going to be just set on 2 receivers and that's it. Let's go. It's going to be a mixture. They're going to mix and match. They're going to do different things.
Jumbo package.
I think this coaching staff is going to do a better job of putting Quinton Johnston in a position to succeed. And it's going to be different. I'm not saying that Quinton's going to come out and have 10 catches for 175 yards and 2 touchdowns. I'm not saying that. But I think Harbaugh and the key here, though, is going to be Sanjay Lal, the receivers coach. Sanjay Lal is a guy that he did a lot of work on Quinton leading up to the draft. He's a Chargers receiving coach. He told us during minicamp or OTAs, he said, I did a lot of homework on him. He was somebody that we were looking at. It was him. It was Jackson Smith and Jigba is who they ended up taking. Jordan Addison, Zay Flowers, all those guys. But he said he did his homework on him, and he feels like that obviously Pete Carroll asked him, what is a way that we can have this kid succeed if he comes into his team? And he said he designed a plan for him, and that's going to be the plan that they're going to bring over. So I just think fans need to be patient. I think they need to just wait and see what's going to happen with him. And that's the thing. When you write off rookies, that's terrible, because I remember people wrote off Melvin Gordon his first year. People wrote off Mike Williams after his first year. So I would just preach patience. Last year was Jim was about to say it when he said, I think people I think he was going to say that he was put in a bad position last year, and but he didn't want to throw anybody under the bus. But yeah, he was put in a terrible position. It was like, go out there and be Mike. Whether it's Mike Williams, Michael Jordan, or Mike the Sandwich Guy, or Jersey Mike, it doesn't matter. You're not going to be
Jersey Mike. You got it again.
You're not going to be able to succeed in that role. So that's just my opinion. But guys, we will get to your questions and comments right now. Dan,
just going off real quick. Dennis saying not a 50-50 guy, body catcher, bad route runner. Hope he trains his ass off. I agree with you. For the most part, I agree with you. I think our compa Jeff said it very well. I'm a prayer face, so don't quote me. He said it's very hard to teach guys when they're at the NFL level how to catch again. He said that's a big problem. And I agree with that. So now, going back to what Harbaugh said, people have to understand. And again, I don't know the financial contract side of it, but I assume they're stuck with him for another 2 years or whatever, before they can cut him and, not have losses or whatever. So I think part of it is, number one, Harbaugh knows he's got to build this guy up because he's going to need him at some point. He's going to need him. Let's be real about that. He's going to need him because you don't know, injuries happen, anything can happen. Maybe he wants to spread them out a little more, get more receivers on the field, whatever. And, I think he understands he has to build them up. But on top of that, I think he even sees if we just make this guy, and because a lot of people talk about tailoring, offenses to quarterbacks. Well, you have to take all 11 into account, right? Like, especially skill players and everything else, because you have to do things they're good at. I talked about this when Kellen Moore was the OC, that you can't just have a system and everybody's going to fit. Like, it doesn't work like that. You have to have a living, breathing thing that can make adjustments. And I don't think they did that with him last year. If his skill set is not going deep for fades and going out, and it's more screens, more closer to the line of scrimmage, clearly they didn't make adjustments like they should have, because at the end of the day, the coach's job is to put, the players into positions to win. And maybe they didn't do that last year. I agree with Dennis again, made crucial drops against the Packers and in other games, which is unacceptable. But I think Harbaugh's being realistic in the sense that, number one, he's going to need him. Number two, he understands that, hey, if I get the run game going, I could put Hilberto, Fernando, and Dan out there, and they're going to catch some balls because that offensive line is going to be so elite. There's going to be time to run routes, and there's
I think Jorge would be excited about you being out there.
Hey, shout out. And there's other ways to work it to try and get that guy open closer to the line of scrimmage. Because, again, if what he says is true, and I'm going to take it at face value because he's watching the tape, he's in the building, about the speed, athleticism, and everything else, maybe you just turn him into something. Jorge, IDK about.
I'll just give you like 5 yards.
The track star.
The
track star.
That's it. I could pull it at me. I don't want to do that.
But you know what I mean? Like, you just have to figure out ways to get him open closer to the line of scrimmage. Maybe his radius is up to 10 yards and he feels more comfortable there. But you have to understand how to do that and work it to the best of their ability, right? And one thing I just wanted to highlight real quick, shout out, Brian. Shout out to you. Appreciate you watching. Appreciate you. He said, Compas, I like your take on the Chargers player and team. And that's the thing, Brian, right? That's the thing we tell people week in and week out. You might love our takes. Sometimes you might hate our takes. But the thing you understand is that it's as real as it's going to get right here with your Compas on the beat. You know what I'm saying? What's up, Bolts, is the realest thing that's going to get you there, if that makes sense.
Wow.
So one thing I do not want to see, I'm tired of seeing this, when people come at Fernando and Hilberto and they say, well, you're not a fan of the team. Obviously, they're reporters, they're journalists, right? So who's going to get you more information? The guys in the building or the guys watching at home? That's how I'm going to leave it at. Of course.
And don't forget, we got a legit high school varsity football coach here who knows the X's and O's.
Hey, shout out. I'm not going to aggrandize myself. It's all good.
Well, you're the coach. You know the whole
X's and O's. I appreciate that.
We have breaking news. The Chargers have just traded a first-round pick for Jerry Tillery. Dan, your thoughts on that?
Are you kidding me? If they traded for Jerry Tillery, I'd be the first person out there at El Segundo picketing to
I was already checking my phone.
This whole coaching staff. Get them all out of here. Get them all out of here.
Just real quick, Uncle Jam's Army with Colson out. Is it going to be Perryman and Henley? Yes, those were the linebackers today. Just to give you guys a little insight on the appendicitis, I did have it when I was 12 years old, and I was in the hospital for like 4 or 5 days, and then it was God, I want to see what you're laughing at. 4 or 5 days, and then it was about 2 or 3 weeks of no physical activity. So again, we don't know when he had the appendicitis. We don't know any of that, but we obviously Jim didn't say when he was going to be back. So I'm just letting you guys know what happened with me. That might not be the same situation with him. Junior Colson looks like he's superhuman, so it might be different, but that's
Everybody
definitely
watch out.
Everybody
watch out. Wheelie's on a heater.
Dan and Jeff are a dangerous duo, a force to be reckoned with.
Hey, just wait till we go to Vegas, Jorge. That's where it's really.
Oh God.
We gotta have Jeff on one more time before he goes off to the sunset and run a bunch of marathons.
Yeah, we need to definitely
He's
have.
He's not going anywhere, my guy.
QJ needs to face a Brandon Staley defense to turn things around for Jordan Love last year. Dennis,
shout out, Willie.
I believe that it's gonna be Tony Jefferson. I think Tony's a guy, and I asked Derwin again about him today, and he said that right now the leaders in that locker room are him, Alohi, and Tony. So he's saying that Tony's a guy that has come in, that he's really helped him understand this system, understand his responsibilities. Because Derwin, I know today Derwin was all over the field. We saw him at different positions. We saw him doing a lot of different things, but it's not the same way. He said it's not the same way as he was used previously. Here it was about doing different things, understanding different assignments, and he says he feels a lot more comfortable in this system. So I think Tony's going to be a guy that definitely stays. QJ went to the same camp as Marvin Harrison Jr. this offseason. Yeah, that'll definitely be interesting. What are you guys looking forward to for next practice? I don't know what we're looking forward to. I just think that Gilbert and I are ready to see them in pads. I think that's the thing. Like everybody keeps on saying it, pads. So
I hate the lead up to
let's
it.
put the pads on. QJ might be our version of Cordero Patterson. That'll be interesting. I mean,
never know. Maybe he returns kicks. Who knows?
Yeah. Jorge, we appreciate you, man. You're the best. Senor move.
Shout out, dude.
Awesome. I'd rather trade for Hilberto.
Any day.
Let's see. Jorge, we don't know anything about that. He has to come back. Otherwise, Derwin at linebacker. No, he'll be back. I'm just saying, like, it's just gonna be it's gonna definitely be different. But another guy that obviously we want to shout. By the way, guys, you guys don't want to go anywhere. I have some fun stuff for Dan right now, so I hope you guys are ready for some of this stuff. Dan's gonna be interesting.
Before we get to the fun stuff, Brett, I like Brett's comment right here about Derwin at linebacker, LB1. I just want one more Kelsey Spinebuster by Derwin while T Swift is crying and Brittany is spraying alcohol. Oh my God. I'm with you on that. I would love to see that, dude. I would love to see that again.
Okay, so real quick, Dan, your thoughts on this play?
Oh,
he picked it off.
That is Cam Hart, the cornerback out of Notre Dame.
There you go.
He's
Dan,
he is 6'3", right?
He's 6'3".
Who's 9?
9?
Oh, that's DJ Chark.
No, the quarterback. The quarterback.
Oh no, that was number 2.
That was Easton.
Easton Stick.
Bro, he just threw up a punt.
No,
might as well have just given it to
he's
him.
number 30 on my QB backup rankings, by the way.
Oh, wow. Shout out. Wow. That's wild, dude. It's going to be, like I said, I think the biggest upside of hiring Harbaugh, besides obviously the intangibles and one comes with it, he knew all these guys going into the draft. He's known them since high school. So I think that was a huge advantage. I expect, hopefully, God help me for saying this, but a little bit of the same trajectory as, the Packers and LaFleur are out there with having one of the youngest rosters and everything else.
So obviously, like I said, when I was at Notre Dame for that coffee break, it was Joe Walton.
He was such a scumbag for saying that. He was such a scumbag.
Yeah, freaking Gilbert. So it was all about Cam Hart. It was all about Cam and Joe Alt. And Cam is a guy that today Jim even spoke about him and said that he reminds him of Derwin. His athleticism, the way he can shift, the way he can move. Derwin spoke highly about him. He said he's really excited about him, that he feels like he's a guy that can have an impact right away. I don't know if he'll be a starter, but I think he's going to definitely be he's definitely he's definitely going to be working his way.
Careful. Dennis is also on a heater.
So obviously,
we get some like emojis in here to just
we
show.
Should away like awards for comment of the day or commenter of the show.
No, well, Wheelie with his sign. His sign.
That one was good, dude.
Yeah.
That was WWE level good.
But
90 sign.
Yeah.
Cam. Jorge, I can't. You have to look at the comment. I can't put that.
Go back up. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll
shout out Jorge. Share love.
So Cam is a guy that I think could make his way in there. He's a rookie, obviously learning and everything. But I remember everybody was calling him the steal of the draft, and experts were really excited about this addition. So Cam looked pretty good, Gilbert, in my opinion today. I thought he showed good movement, and it seems like the coaching staff is really excited. And we know, Gilbert, the way to make an impact is by making plays, and he showed that he can make a play.
Yeah,
the best 53 men will be on this roster. You bet your ass on that.
According to who?
And
Eric Williams, Sir Eric. Shout out to him.
Via who?
Friend. Huh?
Via who?
What, ball coach? Is that what you were looking for?
Yeah.
Ball coach.
Well, I did mess up today by not having a roster on me, and I kept saying, who's 20? And that's a good sign. Number 20 is making plays, and now that I know Cam Hart, and I kept thinking, like, this guy must be like a safety because he's pretty tall or something. And it's like, oh, he's a cornerback. So, yeah, thank you for the much. Jorge, I sometimes I like to trim it every 2 weeks. So I'm like, you know what? I'm feeling like a Tom Selleck mustache for summer training camp. I even
I
talk
was about
about.
to,
I'm not
I
even
was
getting a
about to,
haircut. Just let it grow. Whatever. You got the beard going. Dan, it's summer
I
camp.
was about to ask you if you knew who Tom Selleck was. Shout
Of
out to
course
you.
I
You
do.
do. Okay. Okay.
Monica's boyfriend on Friends. Come on.
You mean her dad? Who,
God,
Yeah,
we have a Joseph Rodriguez
older.
and we have a Jorge Rodriguez.
oh, that's
Jesus.
funny.
That threw me off. I'm like, how
That's
did he
funny.
change his?
Yeah, he's okay in my book too. Sometimes
Yeah.
Jorge Joseph, but he's okay.
He wants to trade for you.
Yes, he does for Jerry Tillery. I don't know if that's high praise or not. But Cam Hart is making plays, and I kept asking Fernando, who the hell is that? But it's getting to a point where this guy might, like you said, Fernando, maybe not start, but could be in the rotation. You got Jazier Taylor in the nickel, right? Am I correct there, Fernando? Yep. And you got Fulton and Asante Samuel Jr. And like when you say those three names, like it's not the best cornerback rotation. So if Cam Hart could be like a rookie darling and steps up right away, or Camp Darling, that's gonna make this defense so much better.
Cam can't beat Derwin's comparison unless he RKO's Devontae week 1.
Hey, that'll piss him off and get him out of Las Vegas. Dude.
All right, let's move on now to what kind of a quarterback does Harbaugh think that Justin is? Let's hear that.
He's put in has been incredible. So, just all those things, be like I guess a carpenter, it's a little bit better, the saw, the leveler. I mean, I don't know, all those things that a quarterback has to do. Just see if he can be better today than he was yesterday, and better tomorrow than he was today. But it's already at the master level.
So before we get into that, Dan, the reason why I brought up that video is because I saw something interesting on the NFL Top 100.
Oh my God. I hate when you do this to me. You know that? Because just like I told everybody the other day, MVP doesn't mean anything to me. None of these stupid awards mean anything. These stupid rankings don't mean anything.
Dan, how could he drop from 32 to 75?
You know what they're going to say? Well, he missed 3 games or whatever it was last year. It's like, okay, I get it, but he's still the best quarterback in the NFL. I don't care what people tell me. Like, if you put this guy on a field and you put Hilberto's ass running away from him, zigzagging, he's going to hit him in the back of the head. It doesn't matter.
You guys really want me to play for this team, huh? I could tell.
No. I said you were a target. You're a moving target he's trying to hit. Like, you're not going to catch it. He's going to zing it at the back of your head. Justin Herbert, so everybody understands, he can do everything you want. He can sit in the pocket. He can read a defense. He can take off and run when he needs to. The guy is the young GOAT. I'm telling everybody right now, and everybody better be ready, okay? They win a Super Bowl with Jim Harbaugh and Justin Herbert. You're going to get like 15 minutes of me before I go get inebriated and pass out. That's all you're going to get. Because let me tell you something, okay, I'm not trying to go that far with it, but, clearly the son of Odin, God of lightning, has been failed since the moment he got into the league. And that's been the biggest issue. Okay. He's playing against, his offensive line hasn't been good, the 4 or 5 years he's been here. He's had changing lineups in receiver, and he's still top 5 numbers. Like, what are we even talking about?
Don't forget, Dan, also a lot of coaching changes because apparently he's a coach killer.
I keep saying that, and no one believes me. No one wants to listen. Has their beloved Mahomes experienced any of this? No, he's had the best, cushiest existence in his freaking life. You put
the fans need tailgate Dan every home game.
I'd just be slinging it and eating like a pig. But if you would switch their roles, you don't know how good Patrick Mahomes is. And that's what I'm wanting to see. I need Andy Reid to say, let me ride off into the sunset and just cook burgers and play golf, whatever. I want to see what he's going to look like without him, because I hate all this, and mind you, maybe that's why Brady was so good too, because he was with Belichick for so long. Maybe. But, I think, Herbert is just, I'm talking about skill set wise. I'm not even talking about wins and losses. Skill set wise, I am taking him over every single quarterback in the league. I don't care how many damn MVPs Lamar wins. I don't care how many Super Bowls Patrick Mahomes wins. I don't care, how many Super Bowls Patrick Mahomes wins. I don't care, how many Super Bowls Patrick Mahomes wins. I don't care, how many Super Bowls Patrick Mahomes wins. I don't care, how many Super Bowls Patrick Mahomes wins. I don't care, how many Super Bowls Patrick Mahomes wins. I don't care, how many Super Bowls Patrick Mahomes wins. I don't care, how many Super Bowls Patrick Mahomes wins. I don't care, how many Super Bowls Patrick Mahomes wins. I don't care, how many Super Bowls Patrick Mahomes wins. I don't care, how many Super Bowls Patrick Mahomes wins. I don't care, how many Super Bowls Patrick Mahomes wins. I don't care, how many Super Bowls Patrick Mahomes wins. I don't care, how many Super Bowls Patrick Mahomes wins. I don't care, how many Super Bowls Patrick Mahomes wins. I don't care, how many Super Bowls Patrick Mahomes wins. I don't care, how I don't know, Joe Burrow gets highlighters and all of a sudden, or highlights his hair and everybody loses their mind. I don't care. Give me the son of Odin. Give me the God of Lightning. I can't wait to see what he does. He's going to throw for 10,000 yards.
You guys have both mentioned something about he's a coach killer. Maybe in 2 days, things have changed.
Oh, really?
You brought up this bald fraud again. There's too many bald frauds in my life.
Dang it.
Too many bald frauds. Should Dolphins give Tua a new deal? Hell no, they should not.
Hold on. Okay.
The guy who's standing on top of the mountain. Mike McDaniel wasn't there, so it's not fair, but let's play out the fantasy for a second. If the Miami Dolphins could go back in time and redo that draft, would they take Tua or would they take Justin Herbert?
They're taking Justin Herbert.
All day, every day.
Yes.
Herbert. Right?
Yes.
That's all you need to know.
And they would pay Herbert, too.
That's all you need to know.
Because
change his tune now.
Hold on.
Division titles and maybe gone to a Super Bowl. I know Herbert's not done a damn thing, and he had pretty good weapons with Austin Eckler and Keenan and Mike there. But the reality is that if they could go back in time, there's no doubt in my mind that they would have taken him.
Now, he had all these weapons. He didn't do anything. Is he serious? You know, that's why I get who the fuck is this guy? That's what I'm wondering. Who is this guy? That's twice you show him, and I've never seen him in my life. I'm tired of this. Who the hell is that guy? Who the hell is that guy?
I don't know. I've never.
It's unbelievable to me. He says he has all these weapons. You know, if I ever needed an embodiment of some national asshole who never watches the games, that's one of them. Besides Acho, besides all these other stooges, I can't stand it. He's had weapons in and out of the lineup. I would love to see the stat. There was a stat not too long ago about how many reps he's gotten with Mike and Keenan on the field at the same time. In between that time, you had Brandon Staley, which clearly it didn't work. Obviously, you know, a lot of problems, offensive and defensively on the side of the football, right? And there's been so many times where Justin would lead the offense down the field, put him in a scoring position, score, and then the defense gave it up. I saw it live against the Chiefs. I'm an asshole in the stands, and we're not even double teaming Kelsey. Doesn't take a genius. What are we doing? What the hell?
We're
is
looking
going
into
on?
the future. You're reborn again, Dan. It's okay.
He's bringing up all this crap because of this moron on the screen. It's unbelievable. What the hell is going on? This guy.
Come on, Fernando. You got your brother
around. This guy doesn't watch it.
All right, I'll calm him down. Watch this.
I don't want to hear it. It's over. All these guys are scum.
Who is here at the Zach Bryan concert?
Get this garbage off the screen. This is why we need a reset button. This generation is so screwed with all this tic-tac, the Fortnites. Now you just trying to torpedo this whole thing. We were doing so well. You put the ball fraud up. You put these stupid trends up. It's unbelievable. That's you know how they watch games. You know how that asshole probably watches games. I'm willing to bet he goes a little YouTube NFL Chargers blank whoever they played week 3 highlights. That's how he watches the damn game. Guy's an idiot. I can't stand these people.
All right, we're almost.
Let's have him on next week.
We'll head out of here.
Yeah, call that asshole. Call that asshole. Let's talk to him. Oh, see, now you're really trying to piss me off. No, I saw this clip. Good. That's Kadarius Toney. I'd blast his ass too. No, here's Travis Kelce. Yeah. Bring up the biggest bitch on that team right now. He's such a bum. You're a bum. I hate Kelce. I can't stand him. I can't stand anyone on that Chiefs team. I can't even stand their families. I can't do it. Get them away. I can't wait till they all retire.
All right,
Travis
in my last
Kelce.
video.
Travis Kelce to me.
You're like Jamar Chase.
On the what? I'm not saying him.
He was number 1.
But I'm not saying his name.
Oh.
I don't blame him. He's a dog.
Yeah, you do.
He's a bum.
I'm not saying his name, brother. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Burrow.
I'll say it for you. He a little
I'm
bitty.
not saying that guy's name.
Beesh.
He's good. He's amazing. He's good. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, he's all right.
I'm salty though.
Oh, I agree.
A little salty.
Oh, I agree.
All right, guys. I know I fired up
number
Dan.
1. Are you kidding me? You should put Andy Reid out there as number 1, dude.
All right. Hey, Wheelie, Dennis, Senor
Shout out.
Vinois, Jorge,
Shout out.
Joseph.
What?
Everybody got him.
What?
Brian Stowe. All
What?
you guys. Thank you
Uncle
guys
Jam's
so much.
Army.
Dennis. Huh?
What? Brett.
I
I don't know if we
listen
said
more.
Brett.
Oh,
What?
Brett. Yeah.
Brian,
Thank you, everybody, for jumping on. I hope you guys enjoyed Gilbert and I's analysis, Dan breaking it all down what we said, and obviously the fun stuff with Dan at the end. I hope you guys like that. Obviously, what we try and do.
Shout out to you, Dennis.
But again, hey, we will be back on Monday afternoon. Dan and I will be back. We'll see if Gilbert joins us, but Gilbert has a busy couple of days. So do we. So Gilbert and I will both. Gilbert will be at Rams tomorrow. Gilbert and I will both be at Raiders on Friday.
What?
And I'll be at Gilbert and I will be at Saints on Saturday, and then I will be at Chargers on Saturday with Dan. Dan will be there on Saturday. Dan.
Hurry up.
All right. So
Don't
before
make
he
me turn
says
to
that,
you.
thank you guys so much. Make sure you guys check out everything else on Compas on the Beat Network. We appreciate you guys, everybody. Make sure you guys tune back in on Monday when we jump on and talk about everything that happened during the padded practice. So thank you guys so much. Dan, take it away, and we will say goodbye with this last thing.
All right, let's get out of here because I'm sick and tired of that damn bald fraud. Don't you dare bring him up to me again. And I'm sick of this stooge, this scumbag. He'll